Welcome to the R.Y.S.E Movement podcast, a place where men just like you learn to raise your standards everywhere. So sit back, grab a pen and a pad, and let's get to work.
Welcome to the R.Y.S.E Movement podcast. I'm coach and founder Dave R.Y.S.E, and in this episode we're going to be diving into the why of the R.Y.S.E movement. So to raise your standards everywhere means to do exactly that, to raise your standards. Now, everyone in this weird PC world tends to think that everyone is perfect just the way they are. They're 10 out of 10s. They have nothing to improve on because you should be loved, validated, and approved of just because you're being. To me, that sounds hollow. To give a participation medal for coming anywhere outside of the top 3 in athletics at school, in racing or whatever it is, and to be given a medal to show your mediocrity, I can't swallow that. Especially can't swallow it with my kids. To say that there's an open playing field where everyone is equal, where everything is based on where you are right now and the fact that you are the exact same as everyone else is false. There are winners and there are losers. For the majority of my life, I was a massive loser. I was an asshole. I was a narcissist. I manipulated people. Like you guys saw the previous episode, I was not a good person. I was an absolute piece of shit. So to think that 10 years ago, before I started my development journey and, spiritual awakening and everything else that I've been through, to say that that version of me was perfect and complete, I'm not okay with that. The amount of improvements, transformations, and paradigm changes that I've been through in my life is almost year in, year out, I've gone through some form of transformation. I've either, done therapy or coaching or meditation or plant medicine or whatever it is, and I have transformed some part of my life because I want to do better. I know I can do better. I know that I have limitless potential inside, as do all of you. You have your own zone of genius. And to say where you are as a fallible human being that has room to improve in every aspect of life is perfect, that's just not true. If you're a loser in life, and I use that term very loosely, if you're a loser in life, how's anything meant to get better if this is all you're to expect? What the fuck are you meant to aim for if this is all you're meant to be able to receive? If you're perfect right now and to sit back and say, yep, well, I'm just doing my best and nothing else is going to change, so why bother? That leads us down the route of nihilism. Nihilism is a terrible belief system, all because it makes you just give up on things. It's like, why bother? I'm going to die. Why bother? My small blip on the radar, it's not going to create any ripples. It's not going to do absolutely anything. So why bother? That's what so many people, so many men have such a problem with at the moment. It's like, my relationship's fucked. Why bother? My business is fucked. Why bother? There's a recession looming. Why bother? This nihilism is killing us. You have to have purpose as a man. You have to have direction. You have to have something that is an absolute shining North Star that you know how you're going to navigate with. Behind me, you can see there's a bow and arrow. Nice compound bow. If I was to take that to full draw without aiming at something and just to let go of the trigger with an arrow in there, flying at about 300 feet per second, that arrow is going somewhere and it will end up stopping in something. Now, if I don't take perfect, clear, concise aim with deliberate technique, deliberate breathing, deliberate sight picture, I'm not going to get a target. I'm not going to get my arrow downrange to hit target perfectly. It's going to hit something else. And where I shoot my bow at home, it's not the greatest and the safest thing anywhere else. So if I don't line this up and I all of a sudden think, you know what, I don't want to hit this target, I'm just going to aim for nothing, I'm just going to shoot my bow. I have families, dogs, I've got people all around me and I could hurt someone. Worst case, I could kill someone. So if I don't take perfect aim at something, how am I meant to hit it? That's the big thing with nihilism, is it makes people sit back and just say, why bother? Why bother with anything? Well, if you don't aim at something, how the hell are you going to know how you're going to hit it? What is your performance marker to know that you've reached the target? If you're just aimlessly moving through life, moseying about, accepting everything as it is right now and it can't get any better, To me, that's a very depressing life. I just can't do it. I know I have way too much potential inside of me to sit back and just say, yeah, whatever happens, it doesn't really matter. On the other hand, the mindset around it is what it is extremely painful. But it can also be very self-serving. If you can get to this place where you have neutrality behind whatever's happening negatively in your life and you say, it is what it is. However, I'm going to improve. Not it is what it is, why bother? You can change your focus for the future. You can aim at a North Star a little bit easier. I love to say it is what it is. I also like to say that's interesting. I don't like polarizing myself. I don't like saying that's good or that's bad or that's horrible and that's great. I like to stay neutral. I want to make sure that I'm not emotional in my decisions. I want to make sure that I'm pretty grounded and solid. When it comes to raising my standards everywhere, I want to make sure that I'm doing it unemotionally. Like, yes, in my mind, I have this vision board of the future and how I want it to go. And there's definitely emotion inside of it, because that's one way that you manifest goals and create goals, is to put an emotional why behind it. But when I'm making decisions, I want to be as logical as possible. So when it comes to raising your standards everywhere, regardless of what area in life it is, finances, health, relationships, whatever, do it logically. Look at it to see, is this serving me or not? Is my current results what I expect or not? Can I do something about this? And the answer is always going to be yes, you can do something about this. So, why to raise your standards? Simply put, if your results aren't what you want them to be, it's because your standards aren't up to scratch. The thing with holding standards for yourself, a lot of the time they're unconscious. You don't even know about them. One thing that I did recently, about 12 months ago now, was I sat down and I evaluated all of my jiu-jitsu standards. I said, what do I do? What are my results? And what is the, subconscious programming that I've accepted and settled for that is not allowing me to progress? And so when I was going through and I was revising all of my standards, I noticed a bunch of things when it came to rolling in jiu-jitsu. If I was getting smashed by someone on top that was heavier than me, bigger than me, better technique, higher blue belt, purple belt, whatever it is, I would almost give up when I got on the bottom. And I thought, is that up to standard, or is that something that I'm settling for? And so I changed it. I said, okay, here's my new set of standards. If this happens, then this happens. So I wrote down a little, framework for the standards and how I enact them. So it's delivered with behavior after the fact. It's okay to write down standards and say, yep, cool, this is what I'm going to do. These are how I'm going to do it. But if you don't take action towards it, it's not going to happen. So I wrote down all of the things that I wanted to do that were non-negotiables. Instead of saying, oh, well, I should do this, or like in jiu-jitsu, if I had someone big on top of me, oh, well, I should try and hip escape out, and I should try and recover my guard, or, I should go to total, or whatever my plan was. I said, okay, here's my standards, here's how I do things, here's my non-negotiables. When I get here, this is what I'm looking for. And I wrote down all the criteria of what I'm looking for when it came to that role. The next time that I came into the gym and I started rolling, I held those same standards. I put myself into that bottom position. I went through the checklist to make sure that I could do all that I could do. And I found that I had a lot better of a role and a lot better mentality to going into it, because I didn't give up. I didn't settle for something just because, oh, this person's bigger than me, I'm just going to sit back and, get squashed. I was like, no, I can do something about this. Even if you're in the worst circumstances of your life, like my previous episode talking about my abuse and stuff, I could do something about it. Instead of closing off my world to where, like in that previous story where I was talking about suicide and, checking out and stuff like that, it was, no, okay, I can do something about this. I can move out. I can, go get some counseling, some therapy and stuff like that. I can get my ducks in a row to make sure that I can progress forward. That's what raising your standards everywhere means. So let's go through some analogies. We'll go through health. If your results for health are you're on medication, high cholesterol, blood pressure, whatever it is, you're overweight, your BMI is obese, if not morbidly obese, even though that doesn't really matter. You barely drink any water. The only water that you drink is kind of in your morning coffee. You don't eat any vegetables. You don't eat lean protein sources. You eat lots of fast food. You take drugs. You drink lots of alcohol. Sleep barely anything every night, about 4 hours at most. You're glued to your screen time. Your screen time is like 8+ hours per day. There's a lot you can change there. These are your behaviors that you're doing unconsciously, and your results are showing inside of your body. The way that we were to change these is evaluate what your current standards are. Evaluate what you're settling for. And you say, oh, I should do this, I should do that. It's time to make non-negotiables on paper and then start enacting them. The way that I like to do it, I would like to write down all of the non-negotiables that I want to tackle, and then I choose the most important ones. So if you haven't gotten a pen and paper yet, this is the perfect time to grab one. Write down all the things that you want to start doing, and then highlight the ones that are the most meaningful, that have the most amount of, emotional charge behind them, whether that's fix your diet to be able to lose some weight, whether that's get moving again, start a sport, or whatever. It doesn't have to be in the context of health and fitness either. This can be in your relationships, your business, your finances, whatever. So the main thing that I want you to do is I want you to write down all the steps that you actually want to take, with health. I need to go to the gym. I need to eat better food. Better food means more vegetables, more fruits, lean protein, cut down the amount of takeaway that I have, stop drinking so much alcohol, drink more water. These are all the actionable steps. So all you need to do is go and do the steps. Raising your standards everywhere is coupled simultaneously with action. Don't sit back and wait for Monday. Don't sit back and wait for, next month, next year. Work's really busy right now. The kids are on school holidays. The kids have got extracurriculars. No, shut the fuck up. Once you write that standard down, that's now a non-negotiable. That doesn't go anywhere. You now hold yourself to a higher standard. You have to take action on it. Set that non-negotiable with yourself that the moment you write it on paper, you will do. Become a man of action. It's one of my most favorite sayings. Become a man of action. Once you set the standard, that action taking means you are moving forward. You now have aim at a higher horizon, at that North Star where you know exactly where you want to go, and you know how you're going to do it because you've just written down all the fucking behaviors to get there. That is how simple this method is. That is what the R.Y.S.E movement is all about. You take aim at where you want to go, you write down the plan, then you get to work. How simple is that? How not convoluted, unlike so much other personal development and self-improvement out there, is it? There's no jargon behind it. It is set a goal, aim at it, write down how you're going to do it, get your body moving. Just go. I say it quite condescendingly, tongue in cheek, but literally that's how you do it. If you want to improve in anything, if you want to transform in anything, if you want a new relationship, new car, new business, new anything, raise your standards, take aim at that thing and go to work. Get shit done. Reflect upon your way. Make sure you know what your performance markers are to be able to get towards that thing. And that's all you have to do. That is what the R.Y.S.E movement is all about. That is what the R.Y.S.E method I'm almost finished building is about, to be able to help men get this down so crystal clear that they know exactly what they need to do for every area of life. For your health, for your wealth, for your relationships, friendships, acquaintances, for your business, your work, for anything to do with prosperity, to do with your social impact, how much of a social influence you have around you, whether you're spiritual with your faith, everything comes down to this. All you need to do is take aim, write down your new standards, and then go and act. That is what the R.Y.S.E movement is about. So I would love to get some questions so that we can start tackling more specifics, because this channel is all about helping you guys get the most out of life. So I want some questions down of how specifically can I raise my standards at work or in my relationship, or have more sex, or whatever your problem is. Drop it down in the comments, send it to me in a DM. Let's get some communication going on. Let's get some dialogue open so I can help you blokes get your life in order to be where you want to be. Thank you so much for being here. Until we see you again next week, much love, take care.
Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for subscribing and leaving a review. It really helps us out. Until next time, take care and much love.